I'm so bored. Oh Lord, I'm so bored.
All right, folks, welcome back. It's been a minute, but here we are, another episode of the Six Sad Society, where we dive headfirst into the cesspool of humanity's most ridiculous antics. Today, we've got a story that is so absurd, you might just think it was cooked up by a group of drunk monkeys with typewriters. Now, picture this. Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, a place known for its beautiful beaches, samba music, and apparently some seriously twisted schemes. We've got Erica de Souza Vieira Nunes, who is probably having a fit because I mispronounced her name. But she decided to channel her inner Weekend at Bernie's, dragging her dead uncle along for a trip to the bank. Yeah, you heard that right. She's wheeling around a corpse like it's just another day at the office. Now, I gotta hand it to her, she's got some guts. Or maybe she's just lost her mind completely. She strolls into the bank, trying to take out a loan in her uncle's name, waving his lifeless hand around like he's giving her a thumbs up. I mean, talk about desperate times calling for desperate measures. But seriously, who in their right mind thinks they can pull off a stunt like this and get away with it? The video footage is like something out of a horror movie. She's talking to her dead uncle as if he's going to suddenly rise from the dead and start belting out the latest Taylor Swift song. She's asking him if he can hear her, if he's listening, and while trying to prop up his head like he's some kind of puppet on strings. It's both sad, sick, and utterly bizarre. But here's the kicker. The bank employees, of course, were having no parts of it. Surprise, surprise. They ring up the cops faster than you can say fraud alert, and Erica finds herself in a world of trouble. And can you blame them? I mean, if I saw someone wheeling a dead body into my bank, I'd be hitting the panic button too. Now, Erica might be facing more charges than a politician caught with their hand in the cookie jar. Theft through fraud, embezzlement, abuse of a corpse, you name it. She's probably on the hook for it. And the cops, well, they're playing detective, trying to figure out if this poor sap met his demise naturally or if there's some foul play involved. Talk about a family reunion gone wrong. This is just tragic. But here's the thing. Desperation has a funny way of clouding judgment. When you're drowning in debt, when you're staring eviction in the face, when you're wondering how the hell you're going to put food on the table for your kids, you start thinking irrationally. You start grasping at straws, even if those straws happen to be attached to a dead body. And let's not forget the societal pressures at play here. We live in a world where success is measured by your bank account, where people are judged not by the content of their character, but by the size of their wallet. So when you're scraping the bottom of the barrel, when you're living paycheck to paycheck, it's easy to feel like you're drowning in a sea of inadequacy. But does that justify Erica's actions? Of course not. Hell no. It's one thing to be down on your luck. It's another thing entirely to drag your dead uncle through the streets of Rio like some twisted live puppet show. And something just flew in my mouth. And let's not overlook the fact that she's not the only one involved here. What about the other family members? Were they complicit in this whole debacle? Who's the guy in the car dropping her off as she's dragging this lifeless body out and putting it in the wheelchair in the video? Or were they just blindsided by Erica's harebrained scheme? And let's talk about the aftermath, all right? Let's talk about the aftermath. Even if Erica somehow managed to pull off this stunt, what then? What happens when the loan sharks come knocking on Uncle Paulo's coffin door, demanding their pound of flesh? What happens when the authorities inevitably catch wind of her little escapade? You can't outrun the long arm of the law, no matter how fast you push a corpse. So yeah, on the surface, this story might seem like just another ridiculous headline in the never-ending circus of human folly. But when you peel back the layers, when you really sink your teeth into the meat of the matter, you start to see a much darker truth. A truth about desperation, greed, about the lengths some people will go to just to survive in a world that seems hell-bent on crushing them under its boot heel. But let's not dwell solely on the train wreck that is this story. We got to talk about solutions, folks. How do we stop people from resorting to such desperate measures? Maybe it starts by addressing the root cause of financial desperation. Maybe it's about creating a society where people don't feel backed into a corner when they're forced to resort to outlandish schemes just like this to make ends meet. Because let's face it, as hilarious as this story might seem on the surface, it's a symptom of a much bigger problem. It's a reminder that we live in a world where some folks are so desperate for a lifeline they'll grasp at anything, even if it's a dead man's hand. So let's strive for a society where people don't drag their deceased relatives to the bank just to put food on their table. And until then, well, at least we'll have some ridiculous stories to laugh about on podcasts like this one. Six Sad Society, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, let's go.